Amadeus, super producer, bad boy, Hitmen, platinum boy music, right?
Yes, sir.
Just had Exhibit.
Man, legendary. Hey, shout out to you, man, for supporting, man. And we were scheduled to go on at 6 p.m.
Nah,
and
but I know how
you
this
know what
shit
I'm
goes.
saying? Like Exhibit hit me like, yo, man, my fault earlier. I could go on right now. I was like, hold on. Because
Yeah.
I'm a man of my word, and I don't believe in just doing anything, man. I was like, let me reach out to my guy Red, see what he says. I'm scheduled for him at 6. If he can move it around, we'll move it. If he not, then we'll figure it out, man. And I
Nah, hell
appreciate
no.
your support, bro.
Nah, I appreciate even thinking about that. But come on, that's Exhibit. You know what I mean, that means a thing. Like when you love this music and you fuck with it, man, it's only a matter. You know what I'm
Thank
saying?
you, bro. Thank you, bro. And congrats on everything you've been doing, man.
Well, appreciate that. Appreciate that. You had Redman on there earlier this week too, right? Last week.
Yeah, Redman, Eric Sermon, Mario Winans, Stevie J, Sway, Big Daddy Kane. It's been Kelly Price, Donald Lawrence, who's a gospel artist, songwriter, and producer. So it's been pretty dope. All my heroes, pretty much everybody that I'm inspired by, whether it's now, whether it's in the past. These are all people that really been a blessing and inspired me musically and just in my journey. So I just, God laid it on my heart to just show love and pay homage and just to say thank you, man. Thank you while they're here, alive, well, healthy, to be able to receive the accolades and not wait, till they're no longer here, for us to show love, So that's where I've been. Shout out to Coco Sarai, man. Peace and blessings.
No, I mean, no, that shit was mad fire. And I like watching lives because you're seeing a different, aspect of these artists. Like you and Exhibit was just vibing. That's it.
Yo, it's just a vibe, just a
Mom walked in
conversation,
there.
man.
He was like, "Yo, my bad. Why you ain't tell me with the weed? Like, you see the size of these artists you don't see elsewhere, and that's because of the relationships that you built with them and the comfort that they feel with you. Just be able to chill there and rock with you."
Yo, mind you, like this is our first time like meeting. Like,
Oh,
yeah, that's why I said I was like, yo, like the vibe and the energy was like if we knew each other for 10 years. Like, nah, we'd never seen each other face to face. Like that was the first time.
and how'd you get him on the live? Like, are you just reaching out and just trying to see if they
Yeah, I
respond?
just reached out via DM. I reached out, via email, and he responded. So I was really surprised to see him respond. And it was really a dope and humbling experience for him to, respond and just, people can feel, authenticity. People can feel real, and like they say, real recognize real, man. So I guess he kind of felt the energy and saw what I was doing in the past and saw how I was moving and probably just saw my accolades as well and was like, okay, well, this king is doing this thing and it's rocking, and just I guess how I wrote him and what I said just kind of resonated with him, man. And we ended up on live today, man.
Yeah, that's fire. Like, so who else do you look to get on there? Because now you're just running through legends. Like,
Yo,
what?
I'm talking about like Das Effects, like Grandmaster Cass, Grandmaster Melly Mel. Like I'm talking about like people. I'm trying that LL. I'm trying that Eric B. Rakim. I'm talking about like EPMD. I already had Eric Sermon. Now I'm trying to get Paris Smith. So I'm like, just my heroes, man. All my heroes that I can just think of. Keith Murray. I'm in talks with Keith Murray right now. So it's really dope, man. And again, it's not about me, man. It's more so, like I said, to just show love and pay homage and to pay tribute, to those that have really been a blessing, man, and just inspiration to me musically. So that's what it's about, it's keeping me in the right state of mind. It's keeping me sane with all that's going on with the pandemic. So I'm just having a good time, man. I'm appreciative.
Nah, that's what's up. Like, you turning into a whole media personality.
I'm just being me, man. I kind of, one of my big bros kind of called me. He was like, "Yo, man, you not really know like an interviewer, man. I don't know. I don't know how this is. I don't know if it's a good look." And I'm just like, man, listen. When God speaks and puts things on your heart, like He'll give you the tools and the knowledge and the wisdom and what to say in order to execute it. And that's kind of where I'm at. No, I'm not, Tavis Smiley and Oprah and all these people. I'm just Amadeus, and I'm just just being real and sincere, and it's just about saying thank you, and it's just about playing. You see it. I'm playing my favorite songs and my favorite records. You didn't
Yo,
gotta
you
be.
was. I wish I could have that bop. You was doing like the whole like, yo, you was fucking. It was like you
Yo,
could see the love like in your just body and everything.
I can't help it, man. I can't. That's the bop. I've had that bop all my life. if I'm not doing that, it's something not right with me. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
that's just me, man. It's just, you know, that's the real authentic me. And I will always give people the real authentic me as long as I have breath in my body, man. So it ain't no shame. It ain't no, you know, feeling uncomfortable, no shy. Like, you know,
Yeah.
if I love it, I'm going crazy.
Yo,
I'm
yeah.
going crazy.
Like, did you come into the pandemic like with this idea to do this, or were you just sitting there one day like, fuck it, let me see if I could like just try this?
Yeah, I just said, okay, I can't go outside. I can't speak at colleges. I can't speak at schools. I can't really be out there in live and in the flesh, you know, teaching and motivating and inspiring people. So I'm like, you know, just because I can't get out there live and in the flesh doesn't mean that I can't continue to do what I do. Just, you know, what, you know, on a social media, a social media level. So that was kind of the idea. And I just kind of brainstormed with my family and just tried to figure out ways to do it. The name and titles, I was just all over the place. And it was just, you know, I felt a lot of overthinking on my part. And I just thought, well, let me just get on there and just do it. And I think the first day, you know, without really having a real formula, I had, I think, Mariah Lynn, Willie from Day 26. And on that first day, I think Mario Winans got on that first day. Sway got on that first day. Eric Sermon got on that first day. Evie McKinney from The Four, who won The Four show, got on that first day. So it was pretty dope. But as the days went on, I kind of got a feel for it. I kind of got the formula of how it worked and how it felt good. And you know, and then that was like, what, 3 weeks ago, man. And I just been rocking every day and just having a good time.
But talk to me about those plaques you got back there. Because you know,
Oh,
work with everyone, like from Chris Brown, J. Cole, Keisha Cole, Justin Bieber, so obviously fucking Trey Songz, fucking
yeah,
Wale,
man.
Jim Jones, Chris Brown right there.
Yeah, this is my gold plaque for the Chris Brown Heartbreak on the Full Moon album. Blessed to produce 9 songs on this album with the team. Here's the Trey Songz Trigger album. It's platinum. Here's the platinum Heartbreak on the Full Moon album. This is my new baby right here. I, you know, produced AV's Chris Brown Perfect single, Me and the Breed. So just got that recently. Took on a little tour. My Mike Jones platinum plaque for Who Is Mike Jones.
Talk your shit, boy. Oh my goodness.
This is an artist that out in Italy that's really dope. Fabri Fabra. He's like the puff out there in Italy, man. And this is the platinum plaque for that. Gold plaque for the Danity Kane. Welcome to the Dollhouse album that I produced on. Let's come down here.
Oh my! And then just
Justin Bieber Christmas album I produced on. Written by Chris Brown. Again, the Mike Jones Standard plaque. Little Mo plaque. Here's another the artist again from Italy. Worked on another project of his that went platinum as well. Trey Songz Ready album. Trey Songz Ready album. Gold. Justin Bieber Christmas album. Gold. My first placement ever. Cradle to the Grave soundtrack with Foxy Brown. I did produce the theme song. So that's my first plaque ever, first placement ever. Cameron Purple Haze produced Taking to Church on that. Fabulous From Something to Nothing. From Nothing to Something album. And Trey Songz Passion, Pain, and Pleasure gold album. So that's my wall art. I'm missing a lot. I actually ran out of space. You know,
how do you create all these different sounds? Because all those artists are like Justin Bieber, this guy from Italy, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
The Dave East, like how are you like creating all these different sounds for these people? You know what I'm saying?
I just man. I've always been that way where, you know, I create what I feel. I create what I feel at that moment, man. So if I'm pissed off, you know, you're gonna get something dark. You know, that might fit a T.I., that might fit a Jeezy, a Busta, you know, Cameron 50. You know, if I'm feeling good and, you know, I'm like I got candles lit and I'm feeling sexy, man, you might get something, you know, for Trey Songz, Chris Brown, Justin Bieber. So it's all about, you know, what I feel at the moment. I've never been one that wanted to have a specific sound. I've always wanted to be a producer that whenever the track came on or a song came on for a particular artist, you didn't know it was me. You know, because it's a unique sound, and that's something that I always wanted to do, which is, you know, you not to be able to say, oh, that's Amadeus on that, because you just never know. You know what I mean? Based off of, you know, the different styles and sounds that I bring. So that's kind of been how I've always approached everything musically. And, you know, I would say in the last 10 years, I've done a lot of collaborating, you know, with other writers and other songwriters and producers, because I feel like, you know, me being a part of Diddy and the whole Hitmen movement, there was always, a bunch of creatives in the room from, at one point, Stevie J, Mario Winans, D-Dot, Chucky Thompson, Puff, everybody in the same room working on one record. So I kind of took that same philosophy, and the dopeness about it is, you have 10 people in the room, 5 people in the room, whatever you choose. That's 3 or 10 different ways to kind of see and visualize that record. So that's 10 different ideas. Everybody's thinking that thinking in their own way and in their own right. So it just kind of makes that team effort. It makes it just a doper song because everybody's visualizing it in a different way.
Yeah. Well, yo, I gotta know, like, what's it like just working with Puff?
A dream come true, man. Everything that I'm doing today, was once a dream for me. I visualized it. My sister can tell you, and she's probably on here too. I used to walk around wearing the shades like Puff. I used to have the center, part like Puff. Like I dressed like him. I wanted to be like him. It was just like
shiny outfits, the shiny suits.
Yeah, oh yeah, I had all that, man. All the different color suits and everything, man. And that was a dream of mine. It was a dream of mine to do that. It's a dream of mine to play drums and tour the world and play in Madison Square Garden and to be a bad boy hitman. Everything that I've done today was once a dream, and I really, thought really extreme. Like a lot of people thought it would be far-fetched and didn't believe and kind of laughed at my dreams because they just didn't think it would be something that can come true and that it can happen. And I just thought differently, man, and I really believe in myself. I really worked hard. I really applied myself, and everything that I've dreamt of, I can honestly say, I'm doing today. I'm a part of the Bad Boy Hitmen. I dreamt that. I dreamt of touring the world. I've been touring with Trey Songz as a music director and drummer for 13 years. I played Madison Square Garden 6 times. I played the Staples Center 6 times. I played, I'm a fan of the New York Giants. I played MetLife 5 times, performing, at Summer Jam with Trey in front of 60 and 70,000 people. So I've these plaques on the wall, they were dreams, man. I used to look at MTV Cribs like, yo, man, one day that's going to be me, with plaques on my wall. And here we are,
and that corner, it just kept going.
Yeah.
You from the Bronx, right? Those are was Madison Square Garden, like being right there in New York?
Yeah, absolutely. It's kind of, the only place I really knew, locally in New York. Madison Square Garden. I think like Meadowlands. I heard of Meadowlands because my mom and dad, like, they loved shows, so they would always go to like concerts and stuff like that. So she would be like, "Yeah, I'm going to the Meadowlands to see, Keith Sweat or whomever." So I would know it based off of, what they're saying, what they say they went to. But Madison Square Garden was like a staple. If you played the Garden, man, like you really made it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's fucking legendary.
I remember because we opened up for Jay-Z. He was on a Blueprint 3 tour with Trey Songz, and I remember standing out there after performing this, at the Garden, and watching Jay-Z perform with tears in my eyes, like, yo, we just performed at Madison Square Garden, like, with tears coming in my face.
With
like,
Jay.
With Jay. Like, oh, snap. You know what I mean? So, I feel like dreams are visions that's given to us. And as you can see, I'm a believer of God. I'm very spiritual, not perfect, but spiritual. And I just feel like every dream we have is a vision. It's a visualization of what you're supposed to be doing and what you're supposed to be living in a life that you're supposed to live. I feel like you're not supposed to wake up every day doing something you don't love or working for someone else or working a 9 to 5 if that's not the gift that God put in you, man. You're supposed to live and to be able to do what you love and take care of yourself and your loved ones based off of what you love and what you're most passionate about. So that's how I've always thought. I probably can count on one hand the real jobs that I've had because I've always, went after music and what I loved and I believed in it. And, it has its good and not so good days, of course, financially.
Yeah.
But I'm still here. I'm blessed. Food on the table, lights, a home to live in. So I'm grateful, man.
How'd you land with Trey, though? Like, how did you guys get that connection and just turn it into what it is today? Because you're a music director, right? And his drummer?
Yeah, we was working on this song for Mike Jones, and we were in Houston, and Trey, he had chose Trey to be the feature on the song. And it's funny because I had just met Trey maybe a month or 2 ago in Atlanta, and we hung out there. And he came down to Houston. We was recording the song, and there was a drum set in the studio. And I just kind of mentioned to him, I'm like, "Yo, I play drums," and he's like, "I don't play no drums." I'm like, I play drums like a church boy, man. I'm a church musician. Like, how you think these dope beats are coming about? You know, beats, drums, they kind of work. Eventually, you know, you're gonna need a live band to back you up, man. You playing a lot of, you know, you got a lot of soulful music. And he heard me, never said anything. We went back to recording the record. That was that. A year later, I got a phone call from his manager at the time, like, yo, you ready to put the band together? And I was like, no. And he's like, well, you told Trey you was going to put his band together. And one thing about Trey is when you say something to him, he's going to hold you to it. And, you know, that was 13 years ago, man.
Damn. So you said you were saying you came up with the drums. So when you're creating your beats and your productions, are you starting off with the drums?
No, I do the melody first, believe it or not. Like, I always create the melody first because I feel like when you create the drums first, it kind of forces you and locks you into that pattern, you know. So if you create with the music first, you can kind of fill out where you want to go with the beat, whether you want it to be an up tempo, you know, a ballad, you know, a trap joint, a EDM joint. So it just, you know, me creating the melody first kind of allows me the freedom to go where I want, you know, with the pattern. So that's how I create, and it's kind of different every time people hear that. They're like, "But you're a drummer." I'm like, I know, but you know, I don't like to be boxed in. I feel like when you start with the drums, it boxes you into that one particular pattern, and whatever you create has to fit that pattern because that's the foundation you laid. So like I said, I flip it, the music first, and then I could try different ideas and different patterns to see what I personally love and fall in love with, and that's how I create a track.
Yeah. What artists were like you most excited to work with? Like that you're like, oh shit, I'm doing this track for this person. You know what I'm saying?
J-Lo
Mm.
was like, you know, me being from the Bronx, J-Lo was a big deal. I think I would say Chris Brown. Chris Brown is hands down, arguably, you know, one of the, you know, greatest performers and entertainers at our time, of our time,
100%.
you know, comparable, of course, to the late, great Michael Jackson. So him, and we've done a lot of work together,
I was
man.
gonna say, how'd that have come across? Like you said, you did almost like half his album, like the one album, like you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. You know what's dope? With my boy Alonzo Be Real, which is his IG name, we were on tour, if I'm not mistaken. I think it was a Passion, Pain, and Pleasure tour with Trey, um, Monica, and I forgot who else was on it. I think was it who was on it? I think that was Elvano on that as well. But anyway, he was singing backgrounds for Monica and just kind of mentioned it. And he was like, "Yo, man, I'm going to LA next week. I'm going to see Chris Brown. You know, let me know if you got any beats, you know, and I'll play it for him." And it was just kind of like an opportunity he provided for me. And, you know, I gave him some tracks and he went in there and did just that and then kind of connected the dots. Now, mind you, Chris and I didn't even know each other yet. And for somehow that same batch of beats ended up in Tiger's hands, and Tiger was working on the Well Done mixtape. And just to, you know, fast forward the story,
Yeah.
we're on tour. I didn't know nothing about Tiger, you know, picking a song and doing a song with Chris Brown on my track. So he did a song called Wonder Woman or Well Done, released it. I found out about it a year later when I went to like randomly listen to Well Done 2. I'm listening to Well Done 2 by Tiger, like, yo, this is dope, man. Oh, shoot, let me go listen to part 1. Go listen to part 1, and here's the song, and I'm like, how'd that happen? Googled it. Then that's when World Star was like really heavy. This was like 15 years ago. Googled it. Yo, dude has a video out and everything. Video has like 13 million views. And I'm talking about like 15 years ago. So that number back then was huge. So I'm like, this ain't it. This ain't cool. You know, Puff, you know, I reached out to Puff at the time, you know, with me being a hitman. And I'm like, yo, this song is out right now. I don't know nothing about it. Never got paid for it. He hits me back like, what you want to do? You want me to go, you know, go ask for some money, get you paid? And I'm like, nah, because I mean, it's a mixtape, right? So in my mind, I'm like, $2,500, $1,500, $3,000, you know, how much do you want to really make? I was like, nah, go in there. This is when Twitter was, I wasn't even on IG yet. Twitter was hard body.
Yeah.
I said, listen, I want Chris, you, Puff, and Tiger to tweet that I produced that song. Right? So we started off with that. Everybody tweets it, going crazy. Everybody online going crazy. My Twitter's popping. Then I'm like, so he's like, you still don't want to get paid? I'm like, nah, I'm good on the money. But hit Chris, hit Tiger, let him know I'm trying to work. that's when Tina Davis comes into play, who was Chris Brown's manager at the time. Connects me with Tina Davis. Tina gets on the horn and it's like, listen, Chris is going in the studio with Brandy. Send me a folder of beats for Chris to vibe with Brandy. And I'm like, Brandy is one of my favorite artists. I'm like, cool. Fast forward, send the beats in, scratch the money, as you can see. I just want to work. Goes in. I get a call 2 weeks later. I'm in the Bronx, going through a car wash. Phone rings, it's Tina Davis. She's like, hey, Amadeus, it's Tina Davis, Chris Brown's manager. There's one of your tracks that Chris wrote that's going to go on someone's album. It's not Brandy, because you know how much I love Brandy. It's not Brandy, but I feel like you're going to love it and you're going to be appreciative of this. Yo, bro. She's like, it's Justin Bieber.
Whoa.
It's Justin Bieber, and it's going to be on his Christmas album. Him and Chris wrote it. It's a great look. It's a great song. I'll connect you with the label. We'll lock everything in. Boom, 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 boom. And the rest was history. Now, what's so dope about it being the Christmas album is Christmas comes around every year. So that's a new set of sales every year, right?
Yeah, lives forever.
The song we created is called Christmas Eve. Every year,
Christmas Eve,
we have a Christmas Eve. Song was written by Chris Brown. So it's like, I'm in the car wash going crazy.
Yo,
people are watching me like, so this dude. And I'm like, y'all have no idea. So long story short, that was what I did in regards to, instead of asking for money and trying to get, paid, it was just like, let's create an opportunity to build a relationship. And I feel like the relationship will be better in the long run, and it will be more beneficial. And, that was then. And ever since then, man, everything he does, Chris Brown, I know about it. And he's like, what you got for me? And now we have over maybe about 35 songs released right now, and probably like another 30, 40 in the stash that the world hasn't even heard. And mind you, like, again, Chris wrote the hook for the Dave East record, Perfect. Chris wrote the J-Lo record that I produced. So we have records not with just himself, but, records that he's written for other people as well. So that's how that came about, man, with me and Chris.
That's crazy. So I just want to run it back real quick, right? So obviously you're part of Diddy's team, right? Hitmen. So when you did Take Him to Church, which is obviously they just made sign, did you know that was coming? Did you just give them a beat, or did they?
Yeah, I think I had sent and I probably was on the CD at that point, either the beat tape or CD. And I had just given it to the A&R, and I think the A&R gave it out to whoever was working at that time. It was Rockefeller and Rockefeller and Dipset was on the same label at that time. So somehow the beat tape or CD ended up in Jewel's and Cam's hands, and I remember getting a phone call directly from Cam, like, "Yo, it's killer," and I'm like, "Oh snap!" He's like, "Yo, you did this beat, G?" And I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Yo, I need this. I want this. We'll put it on the album." And he was like, when you hear it, you're going to love it. And then he was like, come to the session, come to Jersey, track out the beat at Jewel's studio, whatever. And then I'll let you know when we mix it, and I'll have you come down and be a part of the mixing process. And that was, how Take Him to Church went down. And I'd never forget going down to Sony Studios, man, and hearing the song. And I was just like, damn. And mind you, I was still young in the game, so I didn't really understand how it worked. So when he dissed Mace, I'm like, damn, man, I'm never gonna have an opportunity ever to work with Mace, man, because this whole song was on my track, not knowing that it didn't really go down like that. And I think artists kind of respected the fact that if a diss record was made on your track, it wasn't you that wrote the lyrics, you made the beat, and that's kind of how it was. So it's definitely love with Mace and Cam, man. So, but that's how that came about.
Yeah, because I'm like, damn, because when I was thinking, like, yo, he's part of Hitman, like, you know what I'm saying? And you just put this track out there, and just, like, the history of all that, Diddy, Mace, and everything, and then going forward. So it's like, damn, like, I just know in that moment, especially, like you said, you were younger in the game. That was one of your earlier tracks, right? So,
yeah, definitely, yeah.
Earlier in your career and stuff like that. So that's pretty wild. Like, do you have, like, a few of your favorite tracks of all time, like, or favorite of your beats you have?
I think it would have to be the ESPN First Take theme song. That I did that in 2016, if I'm not mistaken, and we've remixed it with Wale. And the original one was with Wale and Stolly for ESPN First Take. That had Stephen A. Smith. It was Carrie Champion and Skip Bayless on the show at that time. So that's when I originally created it. Then we went in and touched it up a little bit more while they brought in this go-go band to play on top of the track. And that one was created for, I think Carrie still was there when we did that. But I think Skip was gone and Max was in. That's what happened. And Max was in. And then we just did the new one that's for, Stephen A. Smith, Molly Kiram, and then Max Kellerman. So I think that would be hands down one of my favorites. It's one of the most biggest moments for me being a sports fan and seeing it every day. And it comes on multiple times a day. The show starts with it. The show ends with it. Rush to what's happening in the new sound and the new waves that are going on. Just definitely the Justin Bieber record. Like I said, being that Christmas comes around every year, Christmas Eve comes around every year.
That bank account, that bag.
Yeah, man. The J-Lo song, like I said, me being from the Bronx, her being, one of my idols, and even though as a female, but still just for a person to make it out of the Bronx and from Castle Hill to be exact, which is not too far from where I grew up. I know the struggle.
No, I know exactly where Castle. I got a lot of people out there. That's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. Castle. So that. What else would I say? The Davies record, the Davies Chris Brown record, that is special to me because I've been in the game for like 19, 20 years, and that's my actual first single that I worked on along with the Breed to Go Gold. So that was a big record. And then Young and May Petty Wop, Young and May's Petty Wop, which just went gold as well, that I produced with Velocity Music. So that's the second single in the 19 years that I've been doing this for the single to go gold. So it just and I say those things for those that are tuned in. Sometimes it may take a lot longer than you think, to achieve certain things, man. And that's why it's very important to keep pushing and to keep working, to remain humble, and to seize every opportunity, and new opportunities that come along that can be monumental for yourself. So that, and of course, all of the Chris Brown records, man. We probably got about 80 plus records, man. So shout out to him for, opening the door for me and allowing me the opportunity to work, regardless of maybe me not being the most popular producer or the producer with the biggest name. He allowed the music to speak to him, and just gave me a chance, and it gave me a shot a long time ago, before a lot of other people gave me a shot. So definitely shout out to CB.
Yeah, no, that Petty Wop beat is crazy. Like her flow.
Thanks,
and everything
man.
On that.
Yeah, she went crazy.
You did a lot of her work for that album, right?
We did I think 8 songs on Young and May's Her Story album, man. So shout out to the whole Platinum Boy Squad, me, Velocity Music, Trilogy Music, Buddha and Grands. I collaborated with Buddha and Grands on that. Mike DeMiro. So yeah, man, it's not just me, man. I kind of created, my own Hitmen, of producers and creators that are just dope at what they do, that just bring a different style and sound, to the team and to the brand. So shout out to everybody that's a part of the brand and the movement.
Is that how you remain current? Is just like adding these people?
Absolutely.
I was gonna say, because
absolutely, a lot of the youngins keep me on my toes, man. They kind of keep me abreast to what's happening in the new sound and the new waves that are going on, and I do a lot of homework and research as well, man. I really keep my eyes and ears open to the streets and what's new and what's hot, and just try to figure out a way to embrace it, even if it's not my cup of tea. Just kind of create my own approach to it musically and do it my own way, and still kind of appreciate the now sound that's going on today.
Yeah. So obviously you're from the Bronx, you're in New York, right? So what do you think about the whole drill movement, and saying how the UK producers are producing a lot of this movement going through New York right now?
I appreciate everything, man. I appreciate everything. I support everything. Not everything is my cup of tea. Not everything is something that I play and listen to on a day-to-day basis. But I have an appreciation and a bit amount of respect for people that come in and change the game and change the style. You know what I'm saying? Like rest in peace, Pop Smoke and his whole, movement and what they kind of created musically and sound-wise. So I always appreciate it. Again, it may not always be something that I play or that I support individually, but I would never downplay anything or anybody that's doing what they love to do, that's eating, that's taking care of their families and their loved ones, and keeping it positive at the end of the day, man. So whoever it is, younger or older, I appreciate it and respect it all.
Yeah, I guess the respect of what people are working on and stuff like that.
Yes,
so you said these Pop Smokes, obviously, rest in peace to Fred the Godson.
Yes. Now Fred, man, just really dope, man. I met Fred, really early in the game. Shout out to Buddha, my little brother Buddha, for introducing us. I'm talking about, and if you've seen the picture that I posted today,
Yeah.
that was like kind of when we first met. And you can kind of see like it was brand new. He was like fresh out the gate, trying to introduce himself to the world. And, I was able to appreciate him really early and get a lot of records done with him early, man. And just a lyrical genius, very humble, very sincere, always showed love, always was consistent with how he was and how he carried himself, no matter where I saw him at or where I ran into him at. It was like, yo, Rick, bro, no matter what. I don't care who was there, where we was at, just always love, man. So definitely salute to Fred. His music will live on forever. His collaborations will live on forever. He got to work with some of the best of them. So proud of his journey, so proud of his success. Rest in peace to Fred. And prayers up to his wife, his kids, his family, and every single one of those people that he's impacted with his music. So rest in peace to Fred the God.
Yeah, I just want to ask a couple more things real quick before I let you go. So,
okay.
You never got. So, did you ever get a chance to work with Jay-Z? Because you said you were there. It seemed like you were around the scene. You were coming up around that time. Did you never got like a track in the stash somewhere?
Nah, man. It was, with Jay, it was just more so of like getting them Jews, man, and watching them perform every night and kind of getting to visualize the back scene, the behind the scenes, and kind of seeing how he put the show together and watching the band members and, really taking, the show in and learning how they put their show together and just watching them make changes in the middle of, a show right there and there on the stage. So it was just, not just myself, but Trey as well that, learned a lot from Jay. And Jeezy was out on that tour as well, so it was like, two dope artists that were really people and artists that we really admired and respected. And, we were just able to just learn from them. Not everything was said to us. Some things were visual where we watched it and kind of put it together in our own heads, man. Because, Jay is not real talkative.
Yeah.
Very quiet. Say what's up. Keep it moving. Trey kind of got more for conversation from him. For us, we just kind of had to, get it through Trey or just take in our own, little moments. Like it was a moment with me and Hove where I think we had just got off the stage and he was getting ready to come on and we just kind of seen each other in passing and he just kind of did this. And I know what that, I know what that means, you know what I'm saying? And without him saying a word, it was kind of like, yeah, young, you know what I'm saying? Like, I see you, I see y'all.
Yeah.
And that was a moment, and again, no words. And that was a moment I'll never forget. And just another moment with me and Hove was right when he became president of Def Jam. Jay Brown, who is the president of Rock Nation, who actually signed Rihanna. And I was actually in the building when Jay first heard, what's her song? Her first song? Is it Pon the Replay? Is that her first song?
That was in my head.
Right?
That's the first thing that came to my head, but I don't want to say it and be wrong.
Yeah,
right?
I think that's the first
story.
song.
I'm actually gonna look it up while you're talking.
Yeah, I think that's the song. But it was whatever Rihanna's first record was that she dropped. Jay played that joint like 50 times in 1 hour.
Yeah, Pon the Replay. Yep. Okay.
Pon the Replay, right? Yeah. So I was actually up at the office in the building when Jay first heard the Rihanna record.
That's a moment in time right there.
Yo, crazy. And now, when you think about it today, you're able to appreciate it. Like we didn't know who she was back then. We just, it was a girl from the island that had a dope record that Jay would not stop playing. And I remember I was meeting with Jay Brown, like I said, who's the president now of Rock Nation, and he came busting in the door and was like, "You hear this? You hear this?" And he's like, "Yeah, I hear this." And then he's like, "Yo, it's Amadeus, Jay, Amadeus." He was like, "Amadeus." And then ran back to the room. And I remember there's a picture I posted with me and Hove, and that was the picture that we took at the office. And he ran back in to say something to Jay Brown, and I had on I was strategic. I had on a Rockaware polo shirt and Rockaware jeans. I knew what I was doing.
Sure you got seen.
So when he saw that, he was just like, "I see you, youngin'." Rockaway, all right. I like how you put that together. And I was like, yo, can we get this picture though in this Rockaway? And he was like, yeah, no doubt. And then, we took the picture, man. So that's how I got my infamous whole pic of being up at the offices, man. So this moments you'll never forget, man.
Sometimes you gotta do that. That's like the classic, J. Cole story where you're saying he was out there with a sign like Jay-Z and shit like that, just to be able to. Sometimes you got peacock to get noticed to get that moment, especially if someone like that. You're saying I would do whatever too.
Yes, sir.
That's fire. Fucking so what are you working on now? What can people look forward to? You got like new projects coming out? You working with anybody?
I'm always up to something, man. Like I said, me and Chris Brown got a lot of music in the stash that a lot of people haven't heard. Me and Younger May got a lot of dope, a lot of records unheard. She's working right now, so we're working. Me and Fab. Who else? A bunch of people, man. But right now for me is more so about, trying to stay sane and positive, through this pandemic that we're dealing with, man. So I haven't really been really creative in the last month, I can say. My energy has been more, my energy has been more towards just empowering people and just uplifting people and creating moments that can allow people to remove themselves, in regards to what they may be dealing with currently at the moment, So that's kind of what I've been on. I have tons and tons and tons of music, So like, for instance, me being on what Exhibit, he sent me a message just now, like, yo, here's the email address. I'm already ready, and I'm already ready for him.
You've been waiting for that moment.
Oh, I've been waiting for that moment, man. So I'm like, I got enough music for years that if I never made anything for the rest of this year, I got a ton of music that CB still hasn't heard. That Trey, man, so I'm locked and loaded, man. So I'm good to go right now. And then when I feel up to it again, and I'm in the right mental space, and I'm able to feel creative again, I'll definitely get back to it. And if God, spares my life, of course, I'll have a lot to say, creatively, and musically, with us going through all of what we're going through today. So it'll be a good time, once I'm at that point.
Yeah, I got a few more minutes before it kicks me off, but you said Fabulous. It reminded me, that I'm Raw beat you did.
Oh,
that
man.
Shit was crazy. Like, what was like the inspiration going into that? Like, was that for Fabulous specifically? Or
no, I don't make music specifically for anyone. Like, I've never been into that. I used to do it, when I was coming up, and they would say, yo, let me get a beat for Fab, or let me get a beat for Cameron, and I would go make a joint like that, right? And then what happens is you go make that beat, they hear it, say, for instance, they don't take the beat. Now you're stuck with a beat that sounds like something for Fab, or sounds like something for Cameron. So my approach is always to just create dope music, that you can send to everybody. Like, I make this one track, and I send to everybody because it can possibly fit any and everybody, and whoever is first to bite, it goes to them, and that's kind of how I am. So yeah, anything that you've heard, released by me is just beats that are randomly made, and that was just that particular track that may have spoke to that particular artist at that time, and that's how it's always been for me in my career.
Yeah, that shit. Like, I was like when I saw you did that one, when you sent me the list, I'm like, oh, he did that. Like, I'm saying, because like just like certain songs jumped out, and that definitely, because it was just. Yeah, that beat just hit. That shit was fire, so.
Thank you, man. Thank you, man.
But Amadeus, yo, man, I appreciate you hopping on here, man. This is mad dope. You're saying you reached out a few months ago when we kept the network and just
yes, sir.
Accumulated to this, and I'm very happy. Like, I've definitely kept in tune with your lives. I was like, wait, he's a media guy now. And then you have Exhibit, so everyone definitely needs to check your page out. You're having all these legends coming on, and like you said, you got more coming through.
Yes, sir.
And I hope, like, when all this is done, maybe we sit down and actually have a conversation.
Oh, definitely. This is and I appreciate, you allowing me on the platform now. And I was just like, man, instead of wait, because we ain't no telling how long this is going to take, So I'm like, while the people are home, people are quarantined, they can't move, they need content. So it's like, why not us jump on right now, give people content, give people the motivation they need, inspiration they need. Because, somebody, just because I'm not inspired to make new music, somebody that might be tuned in right now might be in a bag, it might be in a zone. And this conversation that we're having, could push them, into their destiny or into their greatness, man. So definitely when this is all said and done, we got to come sit down face to face, do a part 2, part 3, or part 4, whatever you need me to do, man. You have my support, my brother. And thank you for having me on your platform, man.
Vice versa, man. So everybody knows Amadeus, definitely go check him out. Amadeus BPM. The man, the myth, the legend. A lot of great songs, my guy. I'm going to holler at you, man. I appreciate you.
All right, yo, make sure you save this. Put us up in the story, man.
No, I'm going
to screen record that joint, too.
Yes, sir, bro. I'm going to fucking record the whole thing.
All right, man. Be safe, King. Be safe. Be blessed. Shout out to everybody that tuned in. Peace and love. Peace and love.
Later, man. That was Amadeus. That shit was mad fire. all the stories he had, that shit was mad dope. Fuck with it. I just love hearing about all those old stories in New York. You know, saying the Jay-Z stories. That shit was wild. So I appreciate everybody tuning in. I'm actually gonna be back on in like